What's up, guys? Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
We're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, simply comment down below and we'll try to answer it to the best of our abilities. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what Freelancer F14D did. He asks, if GW does consider doing a live-action feature based off the books, which story would you guys like to see get an adaptation? And who would you like to see direct the film? Personally, I would like to see Warriors of Ultramar get an adaptation with Peter Jackson as a director.
Ooh, that's a good director.
Peter Jackson is Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be super epic, super dope. I really like what he did with The Hobbit. People were like being angry because it was long and the book was shorter and all this stuff, but the first Hobbit, I can watch that over and over again. That'll be good.
I still need to watch the last one.
The last one was really good. The Battle of the Five. That's the
Five
best one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I need to watch that one.
But okay, so what story?
Easily, it would have to be, I believe it's called The Crimson King, and that's when it it talks about Magnus and him attacking Fenris. So, the director, at first, I was going to say Guillermo del Toro, because he's got a good visual style and whatnot, but thinking about it more, I think it'd be more badass to have Quentin Tarantino direct it, so you can see, like, psychic powers and, like, Space Wolf's heads popping up, and it'd just be pretty bloody and awesome.
It would be very, script-driven, and they're going to have to throw in the N-word at some point.
Django's going to pop up.
Yeah, with revolvers. Did he have a revolver in that movie?
No, he had to. I mean,
yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah.
I would want to, like, if GW did go the route of creating their own movies or creating their own live action, I think they would have to, like, ease into it because Warhammer 40K is not something that is as well known as, like,
Warcraft.
Yeah, or anything like that. So, like, to go in there right away and throw in orcs and Eldar and, like, all this craziness. That people would just be like, there'll be a lot of people that say, oh, this is too sci-fi-ish, I'm going to put my hands off. So what I was thinking is doing something like Blade Runner. If you have not seen Blade Runner yet, please do so. There was a scene in that movie where the main character...
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, what's his name? I think his name's K. Officer K or something, but he's driving in his little car or whatever, and he enters into this like abandoned, like ancient LA type of scenario or setting, and there's like rust and just like destruction everywhere. It's basically a scrap pile. You know what that reminds me of? Orcs. So it would be awesome, or that would be like the perfect point to have like an inquisitor who is like exploring foreign worlds, trying to investigate the corruption of like something or another, and then while he's doing that, you get to like visit different planets with different environments, and like an orc environment with like just scrap metal and shooty and like very like film noir. That would be awesome. So I would want whoever directed Blade Runner, I don't know who did that, the most recent one, but that director and the story, something with an inquisitor or even like a confessor. There's a story of a confessor during the Plague of Unbelief where a sector of planets were controlled by this basically demagogue, and he was using the emperor's name to keep himself in power, and then the confessor like started sending him messages to be like, hey, quit, hey, like resign, hey, leave, and he wouldn't, and he actually started like hurting all the confessor's messengers, and then finally he ended up torturing and like sending the confessor to trial and killed him, but his death like stirred up an entire rebellion. So that would be really awesome. That would be a really good story. Yeah, because it's something that I think would draw people's attention that like aren't going in there to watch a Warhammer 40K game. They're trying to, or a Warhammer 40K movie. They're trying to watch just like a cool, interesting story. Mm-hmm. So I think something with an Inquisitor, something with like something in the Inquisition would be really good live action.
Yeah, still gotta wait for that Inquisitor movie to come out.
Yeah. Yep. Next question.
This one is by Holden Bergast. With the Primarchs returning, and even rumors of the Emperor coming back, I'm curious. Do you guys think that the Emperor has become a warp being, at least partially?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. There's too many people praying, and the way the warp works, it wouldn't make sense that it didn't.
Yeah, because belief is a very powerful thing in 40K. Because if you believe, it'll find its way.
Next question, Bradley Shapiro. If the Imperium is in a state of regression, why do Primaris Marines get old/new technology, and the elite, like the Custodes and Grey Knights, don't? This is a question concerning tabletop and lore. So the tabletop, it's because the newest models are the ones that they want to sell, so in order to sell that, they're going to give them the more beefy, awesome technology.
Right.
The lore-wise, what do you think?
Why Primaris get like the better stuff?
Yeah.
Because technically, if they had all this time to kind of progress on the older stuff, then it makes sense for it to be more like power packing, I guess. Like the Redemptor Dreadnought. It's like, yeah, you've had these bulky dreadnoughts that are a regression of the Contemptors, but with like Belisarius Call at the helm, then they have more of a push to kind of move forward, even though it won't be seen as heresy because now you got Guilliman backing him up. So with the Primarchs coming back, then you have a little bit of a kind of like a shoe-in saying that, oh, the Emperor told Guilliman to tell Call that this new technology is not heresy. It's progressing forward to better the Imperium.
Yeah, and you have to remember that Call has been working on this for 10,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing, too, that you have to keep in mind is that chapters like the Grey Knights and even the Adeptus Custodes, they're constantly fighting. Like every single, year that passes, they're fighting. The Grey Knights are constantly active, whereas Belisarius Call and his Primaris Marines weren't. For 10,000 years, they were just sitting.
Yeah, they literally like just stepped out into the Great Crusade, or I forgot what it's called, Guilliman's new crusade.
Yeah, so they didn't have to worry about depleting numbers. They didn't have to worry about the next chaotic taint. They were just they were prepared with their war gear. Next question.
Joe Blogs. Who's the most powerful Psyker? Malkador, the Sigilite, whatever it is.
Hero.
Malkador the Hero, that's what he should be known as. Or Magnus, the color red.
Magnus.
Yeah.
Right? He's a Primarch?
Yeah, because it was Magnus, or the Emperor's intention was for Magnus to sit on the throne, and when Malkador sat on the throne, it like drained him and almost killed him. So, Magnus.
Yep. Next question comes from All Might. Do you think when the Tyranid Codex comes out, we'll get rules for each splinter fleet, like Kraken, Leviathan, etc.?
I think so, because so far that's the kind of steps that they've been putting out. So, for example, when the Skitarii came out, you had different Forge World rules. With the new release of the Astra Militarum, you had different, what are those things called? You had like the, what are they called?
Regiments?
Regiments, I think. Because you had the Catachans, you had the Deathcore Krieg, the Vostroyans, and all that.
Yeah.
So I think when everything else comes out, they're probably going to split it up like that. Different craft worlds for Eldar, different Tau worlds for Tau. That's what I think they're going to do.
Yeah. I picked up the Skitarii Codex, though, and I was disappointed.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
Really? Not a lot of lore, or what's...
No, like, the lore's there, but the lore's not new. Like, there's nothing awesome about it.
It's basically saying, here, play yourself in 8th
It's a repeat,
edition.
yeah, it's a repeat, and, like, I could have just gone in with the index. The only benefit of having the Adeptus Mechanicus is, like, the data...
Stratagems.
The stratagems. But even the stratagems, it's like, well, I could have just bought the little box.
Yeah, the little cards.
Yeah, so in the future, I think that's what I'm going to do. Except for the orcs. The orcs, I'm going to get a codex because orcs. But yeah. And the Inquisition. And the Space Marines. So fuck, I have to buy it. Damn. Right, next question. I have one from Vrabak Joka. If humans went to another galaxy and got infected there and were sick, would that create another chaos god of disease in the galaxy, or would Nurgle just spread to that galaxy through the warp? Good question. But yeah, I think that it would be a completely different god.
Yeah, I have a feeling that warp is probably cut off by galaxy to galaxy. So, well, yeah. What he said.
So far.
Yeah.
Unless otherwise stated. Which it hasn't been. So, yeah. Next question.
Space Wolf. Or Space Woof. Have you seen the Ultramarines movie? If so, what did you think? I found it as boring as the Smurfs themselves.
No, I have not seen that movie.
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago. And at that time, that was like the only like animated 40K thing that I've ever seen. So I enjoyed it. I mean, for what it's not a good movie at all. But for what it is at that time, I found it pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of inconsistencies. Like, for some reason, the chaplain's Crozius Arcanum, just by going like, bam, he like killed a bunch of Chaos or Khorne Berserkers. When it's supposed to be like a melee weapon. But, yeah.
I need to check it out.
It's the graphics are like really outdated.
Oh.
Yeah. Looks like a PC game, like a really old school PC game.
Next question comes from Akios Eris. Given what we know about Lorgar's personality, do you think he was salty that Horus was chosen as the favored avatar of the Chaos Undivided instead of him?
There's a lot of salty Primarchs out there.
Do you think Lorgar was, though?
No. Because, I mean, he wasn't the strongest Primarch, so he knew if he was chosen, he wouldn't have been like that intimidating presence kind of guy. Horus was more of like a leader than I guess Lorgar was, so...
Yeah, and I do feel like Lorgar was a lot more scheming, and he kind of understood, like, you know, I have to take the step back and let him do his thing.
Although, when they met on the battle barge during the Horus Heresy, Lorgar kind of like stepped up and punked Horus. But that I think we talked about that in Lorgar's 40 Facts lore, so check it out. It is a 3-parter because it's very juicy and awesome, so yeah.
Yep.
If you want to see Horus get punked by the weakest Primarch, check it out.
Nox 5555. He asks, have you guys been drinking? The children of the Emperor are called Sensei. Starchild is the soul of the Emperor, or his rebirth, or whatever. Your 40 Facts makes it pretty clear. Last week, yes, we were. So,
Yeah.
Next question.
Sleep deprived and whatnot. Yeah. This one is by... I don't know how to say your last name, but it's Sean. If a really strong orc war boss dies, does its spores create powerful orcs, or is every orc spore the same power level as a regular orc?
Every spore is a regular power level as an orc. Yeah. Next question is going to be the last question, and this comes from Garen Evans. Have you had any negative experience with other Warhammers? I had someone trying to kink shame me because I said wanted to play Dark Eldar. What's kink shame?
Probably like shaming him, like, oh, you're a noob, you don't know what you're doing, these guys suck.
Okay.
Basically bullying.
He was getting bullied. No, have you ever had any problems with the Warhammer store?
Well, I've only played once at a Warhammer store, and I was battling a kid much younger than me. I think he was like 9 or 10. I was like 16 at the time, something like that. And the whole entire game, he was whooping my ass, and he was like making sure I knew I was a horrible player. I was playing Tau. This was back in 5th edition. Tau sucked in 5th edition. So he was like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to do it like this. You should have moved up 5 inches instead of the full 6, and blah, blah, blah. So that kind of put me off, and I've never played ever since. Or at least at a GW store, but that may change.
Yep, nothing for me. I don't really play at GW stores, so... And those were the questions.
As always, guys, if we didn't answer your question, please leave it down below in the comments, because we will get to it some other time. We do this 3 times a week, so the chances are there that we'll get to yours. Remember, put question in front of your question, because we get to those first. We do have some social media sites, such as...
No, that's not social media. Instagram, Facebook. Those are the 2 that we're the most active on.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a Pinterest. So if you're ever on Pinterest, you know, check us out. And then
we'll get a grinder pretty soon, so
Yeah.
if you're on that, you know, swipe right.
Yep. And yeah, and then we got Twitter and
We got Patreon.
Patreon.
Yeah.
Support us on Patreon if you can.
And if not, support us here on the tubes of you.
By liking, commenting, and sharing, and hitting the little bell notification icon. That does a lot.
Yeah, it lets you know when we upload.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all we got, guys. As always, I'm the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
We are One Mind Syndicate, and we are out of here.